Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with the daily technical update. It is Wednesday the 24th of April. We'll start today with Tesla that released earnings in the aftermarket last night. That the earnings itself was a bit disappointing apparently, but the promise of a range of new cheaper models apparently gave so much joy to the analysts and the traders in the aftermarket that it lifted to prices around 164, as you can see indicated here on the with the dashed line. So that's a little bit of a jump, and it could change slightly short term the narrative a little bit, but the overall trend is still down. And if we are looking at the weekly chart also, it will also still be down. However, we could see short-term upside momentum possibly up to around 180, but there you can see there's really strong resistance here at 183.05. This gap area really needs to be broken. We have all the moving averages still declining, so it will be a struggle to turn around. However, we have seen some divergence here on the RSI. You can see that the downtrend here has been weakening. So maybe someone actually has sniffed it in the actual market where Tesla actually traded up a little bit. So it's going to be interesting where it ends tonight at the closing prices, but still the downtrend remains intact unless we really break this gap area here. Moving quickly on to S&P 500 that bounced further yesterday, testing 5,080 resistance. We could see a push higher towards 5,146. If we can get back above the cloud, well then maybe that was the short-term correction that was in store for S&P 500. But there will be some resistance levels in the coming days. If it suddenly turns around and takes out 49.53, well then we have downtrend resuming. Still a negative RSI sentiment, indicating we could move lower, but still we have to remember the market is is underlying bias bullish, so we don't need a divergence on the RSI to turn around. Also Nasdaq 100 17,478 resistance. If it can push higher, and it is indicating that at least here in the pre-market that it will push higher, but 17,808, there's some resistance there, and also we were actually well below the cloud, so a little bit different here on Nasdaq. The rest of the week going into next week can be really decisive with all the earnings that is planned to come out. NVIDIA will be extremely interesting. EUROSTOXX 50. If it can move above 5,053, well, then expect higher highs towards 5,200, 5,300. It was a really strong bounce from 4,888. We're still above the cloud. We're still above the 55 moving average. DAX are currently testing the resistance at 18,192 and a close above, and RSI close back above 60. Well, expect DAX to trade higher towards 19,000 in the coming weeks and months. AEX Amsterdam testing 883 resistance, a close above. Well, then we're also looking at levels around 900 and possibly higher. But it just needs to close above that. And CAC 40, 8,126, a little bit of resistance there. And if we can get RSI back above 60, well, then expect a push towards previous peaks. And finally, SMI 20 seems to be caught here in this cloud area here. Can it get back above or not? RSI is still negative. We need a break above and a close above 11,596, and RSI to close above 60 for really pushing higher. So this will be a really struggle to get back above. If it's moved back below 11,379, well then a downtrend is set to resume. Euro dollar seems to be rejected at 38.2, retracement right here at 107.10. and could resume downtrend towards 106 level, and if it takes out that, then we're looking at 105 support area. If we're taking out today the peak of the day at 107.14.15, then there's a potential up to 107.77, which is the 61.8 retracement. Cable, more or less the same picture, 124.56 versus the 38.2 retracement being rejected there. We are in a negative trend, we are in a negative sentiment, so there is the downside potential to 122.22. However, if it takes out today's peak at 124.65, well, then we could see a push up to the 61.8 retracement at 125.53. Dollar yen. Still struggling a little bit. I mean, it's pushing higher for each day, just a few ticks, but it can't really get up there. But I think we will hit the 155.30, which is the 100% of this correction pattern here. Potential up to 156.30-35 level. But it is a little bit stressed at the moment. And if it breaks below the lower rising trend line here and takes out that little spike down there at 153.58, well, then we have a correction unfolding. But for now, the uptrend is intact despite the struggling. Euro yen closed above previous peak at 165.35 and could push higher towards 166.30 at least, but 167 and a change, testing the upper rising trend line, should be in the cards. We have Aussie yen pushing higher after taking out the 100 level and also testing the previous peak here. We are back in a bullish sentiment. We are back above the 60 threshold on RSI, and I actually think we could see a break of this upper rising trend line. It's not really strong, it's more like a guideline, so don't put too much weight to it in it. I think we could see a push towards 102 level up here at the 138.2 projection, but it is struggling a little bit at the moment, but there is definitely potential up to that. We have sterling yen struggling a little bit to get above the 192.85 resistance here. We need a close above. We did spike above, but it's still being caught range bound. It will be confirmed if we can get the RSI to close back above 60 threshold. Then there's potential up to 195.85 level. Aussie dollar seems to be rejected here at the 150. Both the 100 and the 55 moving average declining, and 61.8 retracement just below that. I think we will see a downtrend resuming, but it needs to be confirmed. If we break back below 64.85, then I think we'll see that, and it will be further confirmed if we see 40 threshold being broken by the RSI. Dollar Canada. Is the correction over at the 50%, or should we have a dip lower to the 61.8 at 136.18? It's still a little bit up in the air, but I think it would be either here or here. We will see the correction to be over and the uptrend to resume. Positive RSI and no divergence, indicating a push towards 139. Euro Swiss markets, Swiss franc seems to be pushing higher, above 61 retracement, above 786 retracement, very close to that at least. And I think we'll see a push up to around 98, 42 level, and possibly higher. If we can get the RSI and it's very close to break back above 60 threshold, then that is definitely in the card. Dollar Swiss. Very close to takes out the peak, and we should see it move to 92.45, key support at 90. Finally, the dollar index, a little bit of correction, could still dip down to the 105, maybe 104.84, but I'm not quite sure. It depends on the RSI, because it is a correction, and RSI is still positive. We should see a push towards 107 level in the coming week or so. Corrections are always a little bit hard to determine how deep they will be or how large they will be. So it's just about a potential down to around this level here. So I think it will be decided today or tomorrow if we can push higher, or we will see a larger correction. Gold dipped below the key support at 23.19, but did close just above with a few dollars. Now it's trying again, so there's still potential down to the 61.8 retracement at 22.55 or the 32 retracement at 22.60. So around this level that we do have a little bit of a support, very corresponds very nicely with this little dip down over here. Next couple of days could be decisive, but we should see a correction before a possible move higher. Silver also sold off yesterday, got almost all the way down to the 61.8 retracement. Could still see a dip down to that, maybe even down to the 786 retracement. Really hard to tell. If we get a close back above 2760, then I think we will see silver resuming uptrend. Copper has actually formed a top and reversal pattern in the form. We have a doji here, we have a bullish candle here, we have a bearish candle here. It's not the most perfect ones, as the body of this candle here should actually be free from the body of these two candles here. But nevertheless, it does look like a top and reversal. We could see a correction down to at least 432, possibly down to around 420, as indicated here by the arrow. If it takes out the 455, the peak here from a couple of days ago, well, then we are looking at least 470. On the energy side, the correction could be over, bouncing just above the lower rising trend line here, slowly ticking higher. We are in a bullish trend. No divergence, so we should see a move higher towards 93, 94 on the crude, and the WTI more or less the same picture. There's still potential up to around $90 level, key support around 80. US 10-year Treasury yields just ticking sideways, really. 447, look out for that support, and 470, 475 to the upside short term. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and happy trading.